I feel like at this point I have to ask, if there's really no more heroes, why are there 4 games in this series? Let's talk about it. You know, if you had told me back when I started this channel that I would have such a strong fixation on the No More Heroes series, this being the first game series that I have now reviewed all games for, I would have asked what No More Heroes was. And at this point, 4 games in, I still kinda wonder what exactly I'm doing here. What more is there to say about this series? What new can this game offer? I mean, it's just No More Heroes again, but somehow they've made it even more insane. And you know what? It's too much. Suda51 somehow did it. He made the game so insane that it's uninteresting. The horseshoe theory is real, people. Once again, this game focuses on Travis Touchdown, back to his old stomping ground, fighting off the top 10 aliens this time, because aliens are here now, and they want to destroy the world. But not really, because we have to do assassin ranking battles to earn the right to destroy the world or something. You know, whatever, okay, great, I don't know. And also this time, the chapters are split up into a TV show. Every chapter in the game's an episode. It's got an opening theme song, title screen, end credits, a Netflix-like countdown between episodes, autoplays. Why not? Let's just go full on with it. Somehow a game series that had already jumped the shark before it even started has jumped the shark. With this third game, the open world is back and bigger than ever. There are 5 areas to explore, each with their own unique themes, and all of them look fresh off the PlayStation 2. At least thanks to the Unreal Engine used in this game, Travis and the other characters do look pretty shiny and 3-dimensional and good. Unfortunately, the rest of the world is a big bland room with no detail. Now, I did play this game on PlayStation 5, and in fairness to the game, it ran quite smoothly. I have heard less good things about the original Switch version, but I wouldn't know. Honestly, the game felt like it tried to compromise between the first and second games. The open world is here, and there's stuff to do because you need to do stuff to make money to pay for your next fight. But then you also have to do a handful of small set-piece fights to qualify for your fight. These fights sort of take the place of that endless pre-assassin hallway filled with enemies that the previous games had. And this time instead, once you get to the actual ranking battle, you go straight to the big fight. I actually liked this change. I know it's effectively the same thing, it's just sort of spaced out, and I liked that spacing. You know exactly what you're getting into, and you kind of know exactly how long it's gonna take to do each piece, whereas before, it was just very endless, and it felt long. As always, the actual assassin fights themselves are the real star of the game, and really why everybody's here. This time, it really felt like they leaned into every fight has to be a gimmick thing. One boss is a turn-based JRPG. One, you have to play musical chairs. And half the time, the bosses aren't the bosses. More often than not, the alien that you're supposed to fight will instead get immediately and easily murdered by some other character in the pre-fight cutscene, and then you fight that person instead. From what I can tell through some very minimal Googling, Redditing, this was something that got a lot of flack, but I actually kind of liked this. I think the aliens suck. They're random, they're nothing, they're not developed. And the people replacing them at least sort of relate to Travis, and the story is somewhat personal and grounded in spite of this alien setting. The gimmicks, though, I thought were way too much. It felt so forced, and like they thought they needed to one-up themselves. And at some point, you just need to realize that enough is enough, and to one-up yourself is to just go way too far. Not to take too much of a tangent, but I felt this also happened in the John Wick movie series, which is one I absolutely loved. But what started as a fun-filled romp where a man kills a Russian mob in its entirety because they killed his dog has evolved into this weird MacGuffin-filled secret society world where everyone's an assassin, but also the world is normal, but also there's this new thing, and now also there's this new group that's even more above everything than the last group, and there's all this new stuff. One-upping has diminishing returns, and eventually, again, you hop over on that gap of the horseshoe from epic and cool to cringe, lame, and overdone. This series is overdone. It's cooked. We gotta let it go. The combat, though, is still pretty fun. Travis now has his murder glove or whatever from Travis Strikes Again, letting him use 4 combat skills in addition to his standard light and heavy sword attacks and grabs. They're all pretty unique, and they do add a nice dimension to the combat. There's a surprising amount of enemy variety as well, which felt new compared to the previous 2 games in the series. It has been a while since I've played those other 2 mainline games, but I really only remember those games having 1 or 2 enemy types. Here there's a good handful, and I did find myself being forced to adjust my approach to combat based on the makeup of the enemies I was fighting. Overall, No More Heroes 3 is just that, more No More Heroes. It's more insane than ever, and the stakes have been raised so high that you wonder where else they can go. But don't worry, they'll tell you, because we're gonna have a 4th game, potentially, thanks to a sort of end credit teaser at the end of this game. I know it probably won't happen, but I would love that if they do make a 4th game, that they make one that is a little more restrained, one that is a little more grounded. Focus back on the characters that you already have. There are enough in this world, with enough interesting stuff between them to explore. We don't need to fight even more aliens and blow up universes or whatever the heck they're thinking they're gonna do next. Honestly, the combat keeps getting better, but now the jokes are getting a little old. So for a final score, I would give the presentation a 2 out of 5, the gameplay a 4 out of 5, and the story a 2.5 out of 5, with an overall rating of a 3.5 out of 5. For value, I think it's worth it if you're a fan of the series. Especially from the gameplay perspective, this definitely is the best one, I think. And, you gotta see what happens next, I guess. If you haven't played these games yet, I still think it's best to start at the beginning. They're all worth playing, and it is great to kind of see the evolution over time with this series. But what do you think? Am I wrong? Is this story amazing and good? Let me know in the comments down below. What game series should I obsessively review every entry for next? Let me know, and I'll see you all with the next video.